Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope your week is off to a wonderful start. It is a lovely afternoon here at K4CO Radio Studio. I am joined with Josh, president of K4CO Radio. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? It is a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. It's getting a little cooler out, which I really appreciate. Mm-hmm. It's not as hot.
Hey, music like the weather, 60s and 70s. That's the best.
Oh, I agree. Good call. Good call. Well, thank you for tuning in to all of our listeners. And we have a very special guest with us, Josh Dellinger, who's a financial planner with Optimize Wealth Strategies. How are you, Josh?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. It's wonderful it's wonderful to have you. We're super excited about people to tell us what to do with our money because that's helpful in today's world.
Well, especially since they don't teach it in schools, they don't care about that balance. You know, I never was taught how to, care for my money.
They don't. So, no. Yeah. The first thing I got into was accounting in high school, and I was like,
they actually offered accounting in high school?
I did. I took an accounting class my senior year, and I just loved it because I love structure, and there is a way to do accounting, right? There's black and white on there, so yeah.
You need to be an OCD kind of person for accounting.
It was perfect for me.
Yeah. There you go.
I love it. I do remember like accounting, marketing, economics, but it's not like, hey, if you make $1,000, what are you going to do with it?
Right.
I think it's a different mindset, especially to plan for the future. I heard this statistic a couple of weeks ago that something like 80% of people are now getting their information from Facebook about what to do with their money. And that is like these just random people that are posting
all their information.
It's
That's
exactly.
where they're getting everything.
I'm like, maybe you should talk to, someone who knows what they're talking about.
Like Josh Dellinger.
Exactly.
No, I agree. I think the access to that information, it's there, but there's so much of it. I mean, just like anything these days, right? You don't really know what is right, what is wrong, what is true, what's accurate. So having someone that understands you and gets to know you on a better level than, someone just marketing to you on Facebook.
Right.
For sure.
Better. Yeah.
So did you know growing up that you wanted to be a financial planner, or what kind of got you into that direction?
No, that's a great question. Honestly, I had no clue. I had no clue when I was younger. I knew I liked math. I'm kind of a numbers nerd. And, I joke with my clients now. I go, I know two things, finances and baling hay. And I'm sure as shit not going back to baling hay. So I didn't know. I took that one accounting course, and I thought, I'm going to run with this. I'm going to go to college, got into accounting, and pretty quickly realized I didn't want to just sit there and do numbers all day long. That was the only image I had of it, really.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah. It is. And so I really didn't have any idea. And does any 18-year-old know what they want to do? I mean, I think you might have seen something and go, that looks fun, that looks cool, whatever, right? It was back in the 80s and 90s, be the fireman, be the astronaut or whatever, but
be the actor, be the rock star.
Yeah, I really didn't know. But then how I got into banking, I think I shared this with you, just because of where I was in my life. I remember saying I was never going to work in a job where I had to work with people. And a buddy of mine, Ryan Cave, he was working at a bank, and he says, we've got positions, you should come check it out. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to school for finance. I should probably try this.
Right.
And I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I loved working with the people. And, I told you I'd be working in the drive-thru as the teller, and I'd be singing to them. If it was somebody's birthday, I'm singing happy birthday. Like I had a great time, So, that was how I got into it. I always say I kind of fell into it, but I guess there was a little bit of
funneling you
cosmic path leading me that way, if you will.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I love it when someone else can actually see you. I find this a lot in my life where someone else will see me in a certain light that I never saw before. Because you, to me, are very much of a people person.
Oh, thank you.
So it's cool that you can do both. You can do the math and financial aspect and help people.
Well, and I'm sure my mom's listening. She thought I should be an attorney because I could argue really well when I was younger.
Okay.
So I'm glad I didn't go that route. I was done arguing.
Well, you were that was just saved for your mom.
Yeah. Love you, Mom.
I think a lot of us could be attorneys if you interviewed our family members, because they teach us how to argue. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I definitely was that kid. Even if you were saying something that was right, I would challenge it just to
play devil's
just
advocate.
to see if I could win.
Yeah.
Of course. Oh,
yeah.
I do it all the time.
It's exhausting now, though.
And
I can't do it.
I think it's really fun still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you went to school on the East Coast.
Primarily Ohio State University.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of bounced around a little bit. So I started at Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, and then left to be closer to a girlfriend. You know how that turns out.
Yes.
Yep.
And
I do.
so then I started at a school, went there for 2 weeks. I was like, I hate this. Then I got back into a community college, and then I was in a car accident that kind of took me out of commission for about 6 months, and then got back in at Ohio State, and then decided when I had 2 quarters left that I was going to move out to Colorado with a couple buddies. And in my head, I thought, I can move out there, get residency, and then knock out 2 quarters of school. Well, no school lets you do that. Yeah. It was pretty funny when I called University of Phoenix. They go, "Do you think you should go to a community college, be able to go to a community college for 3.5 years and then go to Harvard for a semester and get a Harvard degree?" I go, "You are not blanking Harvard." Click.
Yeah.
Oh, my answer would
You
be
gotta be
like, yes,
kidding me.
I do.
It's all about money, right?
Of course.
I mean, it really is. It's kind of funny. I was listening to a podcast on the way here, and Jordan Peterson was talking about creating his own university for $40 a month. I was like, okay, I'd be curious to see how this turns out. Mm-hmm. But you can get any education online with YouTube right now.
Right.
For sure.
You really can. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm like you. I'm an econ major, so I have the spreadsheet, the financial spreadsheet, pros and cons constantly. Mm-hmm. So the biggest pro for me getting education online is the people that have full-time jobs and they have kiddos and they don't have time to go to, your typical kind of full day.
Yeah.
So I think it's great. It's a wonderful initiative. And the con is, how much can you really learn? I mean, if COVID taught us anything, you're looking at a screen 24/7.
I was going to ask you that.
You're not really interactive. You don't have the teacher up front. You don't have the social element. So you are missing some of the quote unquote, typical school.
Oh man. So, I mean, when my freshman year of college, they still had the projector that you put the blank clear sheet and you write with a marker on it. Like they were still using that. They were starting to use the PowerPoints because that was coming into the time. But yeah, I mean, I was the guy. I was at first I was scared to go to a big college. I was like, because I knew myself. If I don't understand something, I'm raising my hand. Mm-hmm. That's how I always am. My baseball coach, he was, he really drilled it into my head. He goes, you're not the guy when I say to jump. You don't say how high, you say, why am I jumping? He goes, you overthink it. I go, well, I just want to understand. So that's how I always am. So going to college, I want to be able to raise my hand. And so I was nervous to go to a bigger school, but even when I got there, I was like, I don't care. I've got some questions. And then eventually I was like, I can figure some of these out or ask them after class. But yeah, I want to know. So how were you? Were you okay trying to do some studying online, or
I've done both. So I went to Colorado State.
Yeah.
And so I had the in-person learning, again, a really big school. Mm-hmm. And freshman year was tough for me because it was really big and I got lost.
Yeah.
But I went to a big high school. I had 1,000 kids in my graduating class. Okay. And so I thought, well, this makes sense. In high school. Yeah. Went to one of the biggest high schools, if not the biggest high school here in Colorado.
Yeah.
And then Colorado State has something like 30 to 40,000 undergrad, which was big for me. But you find your little niches. But by my senior year, I was in, my degree, and it was much smaller. But I'm like you, the military background. I want to know why. I want to know the understanding. Yeah. And so they knew me really well, for better or worse, because I'm like, but mine was like, I have a different spin on this. So here's what I'm going to write my thesis on. And I would argue my point, and usually I got away with writing my thesis on Nirvana, believe it or not. So
the band Nirvana.
The band Nirvana. And I actually got it in with economics. But no, I was like you. I'm like,
1994 was pivotal.
Exactly. It was pivotal.
It really was.
Because, and here we are all these years later working for a radio station. Who would have thought? Because it was about royalties. And it's
so
really cool.
I got to tell you, so I obviously, since I met you, I download the app. Everybody download the app. It's actually really cool. You guys play great music. I love how eclectic it is. And I think I shared with you when I was working for this guy when I was in high school. He goes, if what would you do if you won the lottery? I was like, I would start a radio station so I could play whatever I wanted to. Mm-hmm. And so I like you guys do that. I really enjoy listening to the music and what you guys have on the station. So
well, that is what we're doing. We just haven't won the lottery. But when that comes, we'll continue doing what
also,
we're doing.
Mom, I know you're listening. You're on that, right? Man, I've got a super tiny head. I get made fun of, and I'm like, I'm trying to keep these headphones
you
so
can push
like
it
they
forward.
don't drip. Yeah,
you're all good.
Yeah.
I'm curious. You started with the banking. And
started
you did
banking.
that. You're with two bankers here now too.
Yep, that's right.
That was our trajectory as
okay,
well.
yours as well, Josh.
Yeah, I was 14 years in the financial world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so now I'm in radio, so you can kind of tell.
Maybe you're my mentor. Maybe I'm going to follow.
It was good for quite a while, but then also, I was kind of in it during the 2008 crash, and that was tough because you just have like families just. The whole family's crying in your office. It's like, I can't do anything, and it was really tough on that aspect of it. But
that was the year I left banking and went into financial planning.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
it was 2008. Yeah. I feel you. It was
definitely tough, but I did love, the part of it that I loved was one, we had a great team. So it's a lot of it is who you work with, but two, I loved when I could help people when something was going on, and I would be the person who's just like, I'm going to be on the phone with my back office. I don't care how long it takes. I'm getting this answer for you.
Yes.
So, and I love that aspect of it.
You nailed it on the head. So that's one of the things I always say. In fact, the last firm I was at, they were like, what makes you unique, or and that's always a question. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing I could say is, it's not, I don't have strategies that other people don't have, right? It's all out there, right? I mean, numbers haven't changed that much. Tax codes change and things like that. So I have my clients back.
Right.
I will go to battle for you. In fact, I got off the phone with a client earlier, initially trying to get some life insurance. They were like, we'll give them a standard rating. And so I called them. I go, listen, and I'll go to battle for my clients, right? I'm not trying to take on every single person as a client. Mm-hmm. Right. I want someone that's invested just as much as I am for them. But I'll go to work for you. I'll go to battle for you. And so, I agree that it's having a good team around you and seeing your clients, right? Like, I mean, you can literally see the tension leave their shoulders when you go through a financial plan. You go, listen, your retirement, you're going to be fine, right? Here are some ways that we can tweak it and quote unquote optimize it, maximize your financial plan. But to see them relax and go, okay, so I can retire now. I know, when I have those clients go, are you sure I can retire now? I go, I'm confident. I'm confident you're going to be fine.
Right.
Wow.
So
you
can just see them relax.
Yeah. To take that stress off, it is, I think, the number one stressor for people.
Yeah.
Oh,
it is.
Definitely, yeah. Finances is huge.
I've saved marriages. No.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
No, it is that. It is. I mean, it really is managing expectations, but managing their perception of what's going on, right? And so there definitely is some counseling in there, definitely.
Oh, for sure. We wear lots of hats.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true.
You're absolutely right.
We're going to take a quick music break here.
Great.
But for those that are tuning in a little bit late, we have Josh Dellinger here. He's a financial planner with Optimized Wealth Strategies, and we're going to get into more about his business and, like we said, what makes him unique. He definitely cares about his clients. So we're going to take a quick music break and be right back.
Welcome back. We are sitting down with Josh Dellinger. And, just talking about his role and finance. And you started Optimize Wealth Strategies. When did you do this? When did you actually lead? So you were in banking, finance, and then you left, of course,
right,
to take on your clients just, solely by you. So what led you to do that, and how long has it been?
Yeah, so, again, I left the bank 2008, went into financial planning. And so the first three firms I was with, technically two, I was with one and honestly failed miserably, right? When you become you're your own business owner, but it's under this insurance umbrella. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't. I thought I was ready to go be a business owner, and I wasn't. So I failed miserably at that first company. Mm-hmm. And then was introduced to MetLife. Luckily, this wonderful, wonderful woman, Nancy, who worked at that first firm, she goes, I want to sit down and talk to you, see if this is really for you. And I'll never forget this. She goes, you're not a hunter. I go, you're right. I'm not a hunter. I go, but, if I walked into the room and you just said, build a robot, I couldn't build a robot. You show me how to build a robot, and I'm going to go build a bunch of good robots. And so she introduced me to the recruiter over at MetLife. So I started with MetLife after that first firm, and MetLife was bought by Mass Mutual. But the reason I left them last year and went independent, so I went independent to answer your question, Joshua. I went independent last March. Mm-hmm. And the reason I want to do that, a couple of reasons. One, it opens the world that I can work in, which is better for my clients and it's better for me, right? I have more arrows in my quiver that I can go find the right strategy for my clients. And two, just working for the insurance companies, not to knock these companies, right? They're great, strong insurance companies. But they also wanted you to sell their insurance, right? And obviously I wouldn't use names, but they want to create insurance salesmen, really, because that's where their profit margins are great's.
And of their products. I mean, of course.
Their own, absolutely. I mean, it's understandable. That's what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And the last firm I was with, they do a great job of creating insurance salespeople. But when I'm a comprehensive financial planner, I'm looking at the entire picture. I got to find what's best for my client, not just this insurance company's insurance. Right. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I have a big passion for life insurance. I really do. The story, from my brother passing away when I was 16 and he was 18, that insurance that my parents had on him helped them to be able to take a little bit of time off and grieve, right? We were a paycheck to paycheck family. So, it was critical that they had that and they could take a little bit of time, a couple weeks to grieve. When my dad passed away, if there wasn't life insurance for my mom, she would probably not still be in the house that I grew up in, that they've been in since 1986, right? So I have a passion for the life insurance, but life insurance is not the entire plan for the client. Mm-hmm. So that was the other reason that I wanted to go independent, was not be handcuffed, not be told, hey, we need you to sell this insurance product. Right. When there might be one that's better,
And I understand that because, the outfit that I was with, I mean, it was basically, we sold only these things to people. Right. You didn't have this open area to basically sell whatever you thought was best. Right. You could just choose from these select few. So that really opens up your world for your clients.
It does completely. And again, the last firm, they did a great job of teaching, but the way that they would train new advisors is, sometimes they couldn't even get their investment licenses for a year or two. Mm-hmm. They wanted you, as soon as you walked into a meeting, to focus on that. And again, I get it. Their mothership is insurance. Right. I get that. But that's not always what my clients need. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, it's really digging in. But, I saw people would walk into meetings with life insurance on their mind. How do I sell some life insurance? Mm-hmm. And, that's not what I'm in this business for. If I want to stay in sales, per se, I would have stayed at the bank. Right. I would have kept selling home equity lines of credit. I would have kept selling credit cards. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to, as you said, Joshua, is, really help my clients and put them in the best position possible. Like I said, we didn't grow up with money. We didn't have the conversations around the dinner table of, here's what my business is doing today, or my parents weren't in sales. Mm-hmm. So we didn't have that kind of conversation. And to your points earlier, right, we don't have that education. And so I like to be that resource for people,
I like it. Yeah. So When it comes to services that you do offer, I mean, since you are kind of independent, you offer a wide variety of services for you. So kind of go through, I mean, you're basically, planning them out as a whole picture. What services do you normally use and offer for your clients?
Yeah. So, the way I like to say it is, we're doing, wealth planning, comprehensive financial planning to create wealth and generational success, right? So, as Sabina was asking me earlier, certainly do the investment piece. I'd say, probably about 75% of my business is the investment side, helping people with their IRAs, giving advice on, investment accounts at work. I'm throwing some quotes in the air here. There's some legalities there. But working on the wealth management side, looking at taxes, that's a big piece. I'm not a CPA, right? But taxes is a huge piece. Like I said earlier, tax laws change all the time. The TCJA is about to expire at the end of 2025. Taxes are going to go up. Income brackets are going to be changing, right? There's a lot of planning that you could do there. So tax planning, the protection piece, like I talked about, the life insurance, disability, long-term care, right? We're living much longer than we used to, maybe not healthier, but longer.
But longer, yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So how do we afford that care, right? So the protection piece, life insurance is insane. And then those tie into retirement planning, right? I think that's the biggest thing that people have questions about is, am I going to be able to retire when I want to and continue that lifestyle that I appreciate? And then at the end of the day, how do these things pass on to next generation, children, grandchildren, charities, however it is, through your estate plan? And so we look at that entire picture, right? Understand what you have coming in, what you have going out. How do we put plans in to make sure that you're going to maximize all that?
And I think the biggest thing, which is absolutely insane, is the cost that it takes for when you're older, the care. Yeah. It's absolutely nuts. And if you don't have stuff in plan before then you don't know what you're doing. And you don't really want to just live on the Medicare program.
Well,
I mean, it's a good program and it's got some work to do, but I mean, there's so many other things you can do.
No, you're absolutely right. And that ties into, right, the Social Security. Social Security was not meant to be a 30-year retirement plan.
I've been hearing Social Security is going to be bankrupt since I was a kid and going to be gone. Well, I'm not going to get it.
Right.
That's what I keep hearing.
I mean, listen, obviously none of us have a magic ball here, but I think it's just going to look different. I think you're not going to be able to turn on at 62, right? Maybe, if you're married and your spouse didn't work, but your spouse still gets half of it, yours, where's that money coming from, right? So I think it's just going to look different. That's my thought on it, but I don't know. But tying that into, like you were saying, with the Medicaid, the care is just outrageous. And, we weren't expecting, you have the insurance companies that started long-term care insurance, right? Like your Genworth back in the day. They don't even exist anymore.
No.
Most of these companies don't offer traditional long-term care insurance because the cost, they had no idea how to calculate what that cost was going to be.
Yep.
So, we have to take more of the planning into our own hands, right? I mean, you've heard for years how few companies offer pensions these days, right? That's just another example that we have to take it into our own hands.
For sure. I love how comprehensive you use that word several times, and you really are. Thank you for kind of explaining that, we have so many people come in here, and it always kind of boils down to the same, very similar conversation where we all don't fit in the same box.
Right. Because
all of us have different needs, wants, different lifestyles, and come from different backgrounds, different jobs, and what we want. So I think the idea of planning, that yes, you should educate yourself and get a plan in place. And it doesn't have to be stressful. Right. I think for a lot of people, it's first taking that first step, reaching out to someone and be like, okay, here's my life and let's organize it. Because it's like spring cleaning. People are like, oh my God, I really have to go clean my house. But to me, this is like clean up your life. And like you said, my family and I, we talk about generational wealth all the time, as I want to leave something to my son.
Yeah.
You know, that's really important.
You like your son?
For me, I love my son.
Good.
Like, he's my most favorite person on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And I want to not leave him in a box on the side of the road. Like, I hope to
or in debt.
Or in debt.
Or in your debt.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And that, so setting up a strategy with you is amazing.
Well, and to that point, you know, I think the stigma that people have, right? If they didn't start planning as soon as they started working at 22 or 23 years old, right? And all of a sudden they're 40, I think there is sometimes some shame. Like, I don't have as much in my bank account as I think I should, and I don't want this person that I don't know to see this, right? There's that stigma around it, I think, that they put in their own head. I don't judge that. Listen, I started late too, if I really look at it. I mean, I started contributing to 401k right away, but then the idiot that I was at a younger age, right, I tapped into it, right, because I wasn't living within my means in my early 20s. So, you know, I made mistakes, and I think that's where a lot of my education comes from too. It's like, okay, I've been in these tough spots. But for those people that, you know, they go, oh, well, I'm already 50 and I just haven't done enough planning. No, like, starting now is way better than not addressing it because you feel like, oh man, I'm ashamed. There's no shame in this, you know, because to your point, everybody's in a different position. Everybody starts, right? Especially us guys. Don't they say we're
late bloomers?
We're late bloomers.
Yes.
We are not as mature as these women at 25, right? So
I'm extremely mature.
It depends
Joshua,
on
you
man and
come
woman.
across as very mature. I'll agree with that. But no, you know, again, we all start to address the things in our lives at different stages, whether it's finances or anything else, right?
Of course.
I mean, you and I had a really good conversation of, you know, some things that I've changed in my life, and, you know, better to start when you do than to just go, you know what, it's so late, I'm just not even going to address it.
Not even going to try. Yeah, exactly.
That's just silly.
I agree.
Yeah.
This again is very much of a commonality of things that we discuss.
Yeah.
We have a lot of musicians that come in, and they range from 20 to 80. And seriously, we have everyone from different walks of life. And it's like, why didn't I do this when I was younger? I'm like, because you didn't know that you needed to do it when you were younger.
Right.
You know, we get all these different tools at a certain age, and especially with finances. I mean, you have no idea what that person has been through. And a lot of us younger, we're now taking care of our parents, so they could have dipped into their savings for that reason, or a vacation or education or whatever it is. So I agree with you. There's no shame in being where you are today.
Right.
Choose to start today.
Yeah.
Especially like,
oh my gosh, this is why I'm here. I need you guys as my marketing arm here.
Well, because
I love the way that you say it. Yeah,
it's so true. We're teamed up with a chiropractor, and it's the same thing. Like, a lot of people have shame to say something hurts, I let it go, and now I'm here and I'm a hot mess. It's like, well, at least you came in. But you know, if you have the foresight and have someone like you being like, you know what, hey, go reach out to Josh, and he can lay it all out in front of you, and there's zero shame. I don't care if you're 20 or you're 80. You're like, okay, here's my $5 in my till, or my $500 million in my till.
Right.
For all of you, just come invest with us right now.
Yeah. Well, and like I said earlier, you know, as long as you are invested in your own success, financial success, right, I'll work with you. So there's the question all the time, like, do you have a minimum of what people have to have as far as assets before you'll work with them, how much they have to invest? And I know there are a lot of people that do, there are a lot of advisors that do, but again, you know, if you care about it, I'm going to help you, especially if you're a referral. That's where most of my business comes from, is referrals. And if someone respects me enough to say, hey, you should work with Josh, and I get introduced to you, I'm not going to be like, oh no, you don't have enough money. You only have 300,000, and I require that you have $1 million. I mean, I'm not going to do that. For those advisors that are wanting to do it that way, that's great. But I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you as long as you care about it just as much or more than I do, right?
For sure. I like it.
You know, I can't be the only one that's going to put effort into this, because it is a relationship. It's an ongoing process. It's not like I see you one time, you know, people come in and go, what should I do with this money? I'm like, I have no idea what's going on in your life. I can't tell you that answer right now. So, yeah.
A lot of times it's that way, too, with the big outfits. I remember, you know, certain thresholds is just like, well, we can't help you. You know, you need to have this much amount of money in order for us to help you out.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So that was not a thing that I was a fan of back in the day. But
Yeah.
You mentioned a lot about taxes and stuff, and I'm wondering, do you collaborate or talk with, like tax advisors and people like that? You said you're not licensed as tax, but it's definitely something that you help out with.
Absolutely.
And are very educated with. So
Yes.
When it comes to that, are there people that you work with to kind of help you along the way?
I love that you guys are both have the financial background because you're asking great questions. I love it. So I think that's the other thing to understand when you work with me, as far as, I wouldn't say this is totally unique to the world of advisors, but I am genuinely collaborating with CPAs, with attorneys, with estate attorneys, to look at the entire picture. So I work with the CPAs. I have my own CPA, right? I am a business owner. But I also, I get on a webinar every week. There's this lady, her name's Debbie Taylor. She's hilarious. She's an East Coast, New Jersey, pure New Jersey attitude. I love her to death. And she does these tax classes, which are amazing. I'm continually educating myself. I'm studying for my Chartered Financial Consultant right now. It's a designation just like CFP, Certified Financial Planner. But yeah, working with other CPAs. We have also the broker-dealer that I partner with. We have the resources, right? If there's a question that I have, I can always go to them. They have CPAs, they have attorneys, they have those resources as well if there's something that I don't know. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, I don't know it all, right? I was telling you, one of the greatest books I read was called Getting Naked. It's not a porn book, everybody. It's a business fable about, being vulnerable and not acting like you do know everything.
Right.
And it was a book. I'm not a very good reader. My attention span is, I'm surprised I'm still sitting here actually, but my attention span is so short. But I read this book in one flight coming back from Cozumel because I was so ingrained in it. And again, I don't know everything, but I definitely have the resources around me to be able to get our answers. So, and
I absolutely love that because a lot of people will. I've worked with people even in the financial world where they say something and I'm like, that's incorrect.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm the one that will say I don't know, but I am sure as heck gonna find out the right answer for you.
Yeah.
But all the time it just be like you kind of overhear people and it's just like that's not right.
But like you asked earlier too, as far as How do I know? So staying educated and always trying to learn. Again, tax laws are changing all the time. Mm-hmm. If I sat there and just try to rely on what I learned, 21 years ago, as far as taxes or anything else in the financial world, yes, numbers still work the same. 2 + 2 is 4, right? But the education is critical as well. You got to stay up on what's changing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I love it. Continue the education and collaborate.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, we're going to take another quick music break. For those of you listening and tuning in lately, or later, I should say, we are with I can't talk
you
anymore.
Need some coffee.
I do. We are with Josh, who's an amazing financial planner with Optimized Wealth Strategies. When we get back, I want to talk about your owl, which I think is really amazing. We'll kind of go over kind of your comprehensive detail here, which is amazing, and about how you care about people. It's truly wonderful. So we'll break here real quick for another music break and be right back. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in and listening to K4CO Radio. We have been joined by an amazing guest with us, Josh Dellinger, who's a financial planner with Optimized Wealth Strategies.
Good name, too, I must say.
Thank you. AKA DJJD, right?
DJJD.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's what, you're in my...
See, we got Josh. We also have last names that start with D. It's wonderful. Finance, it's like looking in a mirror.
We're just clicking.
It makes it challenging, but it works. So for those of you that want to find him, his business name is his website, so it makes it really easy. So it's optimizedwealthstrategies.com. And who you are, I wanted to mention all of this because I love that you're helping so many different people. You're not in just one area. So you have estate strategies, life insurance, extended care, education strategies, social security strategies, small business ownership, cash flow analysis, charitable giving, which is near and dear to my heart with legacy planning, and financial education. I mean, so truly for those of you listening and you are 20, 50, 90, somewhere in between, give Josh a call and go look him up. All of his information is on his website. And you had mentioned you really enjoy also working with business owners.
Yes.
So is there, a specific type of business, or what is it with business owners that you're working with? I
mean, I primarily say that because, well, with the people that I'm going to work with, I want to be able to connect with them, right? I mean, I truly feel that it is a relationship business. Right. And so if I'm not connecting with you, I mean, there are clients, or I should say potential clients that I've turned away. There are people that have decided not to work with me. Right. I mean, that we're not always going to click. But in terms of business owners, as a business owner, I understand what you're going through. Right. You're trying to run your business, generate revenue, which, ultimately you want them to be profits, not just revenue. But you're busy running that business. The financial side of it is an entirely other business, right? You might have a CFO, but even a CFO inside your company is not the same as what I do. So I work with business owners on their buy-sell agreements, on, whatever it is that they need as a business owner, but also to provide for the employees as well. So it's taking that off their plate, but I feel like I can connect with those business owners because I understand, the sleepless nights. I understand the many hours that they put into it. These are not bankers' hours, people. These are not
It's
bankers.
so fun starting your own
really
business.
Not.
You get lots of sleep.
Oh man. And don't get me wrong. I love it too, right? I mean, sometimes I'll work 30 hours, but sometimes I'll work 50 hours a week, and it's all over the board. And
for sure.
Yeah.
It's your own blood, sweat, and tears, and it's amazing to have something that's your own.
Yeah. But again, going back to your point right when we started talking, I mean, having the access of education on the financial side. So working with these businesses to also provide the financial wellness for them. To me, I know that you asked me to be prepared to talk about, how I give back to the community or my community involvement. Like, to me, that's one great way that I like to do it. Again, we didn't sit around the dinner table talking about finances.
Right.
So to be able to provide that education, provide, the guidance to create a less stressful environment, because, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, finances are pretty tough for a lot of people in this country right now, right? That's not meant to be political. So to have the knowledge or someone that can support you to help you make these good decisions will help you to be more productive at work. The employer's happier. So yeah, I mean, it's just that entire environment of working with business owners, their employees. Like, I really enjoy that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it. Well, yeah. I knew right when I met you, I was like, this guy actually
has a small head.
Oh. That's definitely what
Look how big that hat is.
We just have big headphones.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, this is a guy who genuinely cares and wants to build relationships, right? To me, that's what business is. And that's truly what we talk about with almost everyone that comes in here. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Really, it's so infrequent when I go out with someone and have lunch. I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, what do you do? We didn't really get into that with most people because it's like, that is a side note. Yes, it's really important.
We had
it's
genuine conversation.
Like, who are you as a human being? And we're the same way. It's like, not everyone's a great fit for us, and vice versa.
Well, and that's why I appreciate you guys as well, because something that you stressed from the get-go is that our radio station is about our community.
Yes.
I think that's huge. The way you and I met was through the chamber. Thank you again for coming to the coffee at my office. But, that's why I'm involved with the chamber. It wasn't to go in there and try to find business and drum up business. It wasn't at all. This is where I live. This is my community. I want to know, what are the other businesses where I can spend my dollars, right? Who can I help support? What are some of the, great things going on that I'm unaware of? So I think what you guys do, I thought it was great. So that's why I was like, yeah, I'm really open to this conversation about coming in and
Oh,
talking.
that's awesome.
So
yeah,
thank
big
you
shout
guys.
out to Inglewood Chamber.
Yeah,
They're
Inglewood
amazing.
Chamber. They're great.
Why I love it is they're relationship based.
Yeah.
And they truly care about people in the community. I'm like, I can be around you people. So
Yeah.
it's very collaborative and
Yeah, you don't just walk in and people are slinging business cards at you.
Exactly.
I mean, how frustrating is that if you go to any networking event, I don't care what it is, and you're walking up to someone, they don't have their hand out to shake. They've got a card between their index finger and their thumb.
yeah.
And I'll literally turn away
Yeah.
and be like, I'm going to go talk to somebody else. That's
Exactly.
not my
Of
MO.
course.
I can't stand it. I don't think that's actually involved in the community definition that we go to, because for me, it's like the definition of that is let's talk, let's get to know each other and hang out. If there's a way I can help you, I'll help you. If there's a way, if I need some help and maybe you know some information that I don't have. The biggest thing about the financial world is I love how you said we didn't talk about money at the dinner table. What family did? And what family even does talk about money at the dinner table?
You don't think?
I don't think
families
so.
do?
I don't think so. Maybe a family that, I don't know, has a lot and, like trust funds and stuff like that. Maybe it comes in a conversation. When I grew up, money was not talked about. When I went to school, it wasn't taught.
Yeah.
And I had to learn by myself. Like you said, in your 20s, you spent lived outside of your means. So did I.
Yeah.
And to this day, I mean, right now, I don't own a credit card.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I mean, they're loan sharks.
Sure.
I mean, it's great to have credit cards when you're getting the benefits from them.
Sure. Well, okay, so I guess going back to that, maybe that was kind of a blanket money discussion. Really what I mean is, again, so my dad, he was military, he was Air Force. My mom worked at a manufacturing plant as a secretary, right? So when they came in, they weren't talking about, hey, we're running this business and I've got to go to this big meeting. I've got to prepare for this giant meeting and get my presentation prepared. And, oh man, I lost the sale of this today. Like I didn't see that stress around money at the dinner table. Now, again, we were paycheck to paycheck. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about, really.
Right.
But I didn't have that, go be a business owner kind of conversation or push yourself to make sure you do this. My parents, amazing. Like they showed us love, right? They taught us manners. Like they showed us, I think, the qualities that you should have in this world,
How to
right?
be a good person.
Hold a door for somebody, right? Open the door for your lady, like these types of things. Couldn't put your elbows on the table. I still question that. Like, why not? Come on.
I still can't.
Am I? If I put them up there, I might do it, but I still think about like, am I really hurting any manner? Are there consequences for having my
really
elbow on here?
Yeah.
But those were the things that I got from my parents. Like they taught us to respect other people and to show. My mom and I, we talk about this all the time. My mom, reminds me, like when we went to bed, we gave hugs and kisses to my parents every time. Like you didn't go to bed without that, right? And I think that was just huge. I think it helped add to the type of character I am. Not, certainly have plenty of flaws, but I think they instilled a lot of great things too.
You did. A huge shout out to you. You held the door for me. When we went into the restaurant.
Good man.
You opened the car door and you closed it.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap. I was so blown away by your manners. Like that is such a true testament to your upbringing and what was installed in you. You really are a good human being.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
Yeah. Hey, if your mom's
On
listening,
Tuesdays.
Good job, Mom.
Good job, Mom. Like you
Good job, Mom.
knocked it out of the park. And
Sabino throwing his fist.
And he's
he
another
supports
one.
it
He's
too.
definitely a gentleman.
Yeah.
He still calls me ma'am, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's nice to have, but it's respect and being considerate of people around you, and you can still have fun and be crazy because I add that element too. But,
do you want to talk about the comedy show you went to?
No, I do not. I do not. But thank you.
That's for K4CO after hours.
Yeah, that's at a different time. But we do like to have
I'll come
fun.
on at that time too.
All right, I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
But yeah, shout out to nonprofits that we are involved in, which you are as well. It's very charitable.
Yeah.
Are there certain areas of Colorado that you serve certain cities? Or are you all over the place?
I mean, the truth of the matter with, we have Zoom, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can work from anywhere, and obviously I prefer the in-person. Again, I like to shake hands. I like to hug and do these things. So I prefer the in-person, but with the fact that we have Zoom, I'll offer that. I'm licensed in many states, right? I mean, being from Ohio, I've got a lot of clients in Ohio. I've got a lot of clients in Arizona and Texas, and so I am kind of all over as far as what I can serve.
Nice. Okay.
So not restricted there either. It just depends
awesome.
on what the type of relationship that you want, right? Again, I prefer the in-person, but I can also take care of you quite well.
Okay. Yeah, Zoom. That's another benefit of Zoom.
Josh D. It's the same. Yeah, I mean, we use Zoom, especially since the pandemic. But I like face to face.
Yeah,
it's just you can learn so much more. You can be more relaxed. I mean, Zoom is it's good for its purposes. But,
it is. I mean, if you have to use it, then it's there.
And I get in my head, right? If I'm on a Zoom, I try to let the people know. I go, hey, when my eyes are going down here, it's because I'm keeping notes. I'm typing. Like I can't type. Like I didn't take typing class. I'm still pecking at the keyboard, right? So I want them to know. Listen, I'm focused on you. My phone's not here. It's turned off. I'm not looking at that. Like I'm focused on you. But the in person is just so much better. I mean, I never wanted to go be like a masseuse or anything because I don't want to touch people I don't know. But I love hugging, right? Like my clients, like when you come in, I want to give you a hug or a handshake,
Yeah.
So
you are a financial planner, not a masseuse.
I am not a masseuse.
Okay.
Make sure that's in our messaging.
Even if you really
there.
have someone really stressed,
I can massage your taxes. No, I'm just
and we
just kidding. I hope no regulators are listening to this.
You are totally within the FCC limits. Don't you worry.
I'm not worried about the FCC.
Neither are we.
SEC.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. He'll massage your taxes, but not your body.
Yes.
That is your new tagline.
Great tagline. I love it.
People would remember that.
Yeah.
We have just a couple minutes, but so for those of you listening, go to optimizewealthstrategies.com. He has the cutest little owl for your logo. Explain.
Who are you talking about?
Who? Oh, cute.
Oh, yeah.
I see what you did there.
I like that. If Christy is listening to this, so I hired a firm to help me create my logo and the branding part of it, and I love it because she really wanted to dig in and what who are you, what do you stand for, and things like that. And before I dig into that a little bit more, I always remember also I've just always liked owls. The house I was talking about that my mom is still in, when we first moved into that house, the people that lived there before, there was this giant wooden owl carved statue out front. And I remember one day came home and it was gone. I remember my parents were like, they came and they took it, But my mom used to always have owls around the house. And now it's roosters. I'm not going to dig into that. But she used to always have a bunch of owls. So I liked owls. And of course, what you hear about owls, right? The wisdom.
Yeah, they're wise.
That's what they say, but I think they're actually, I think they say they're not as wise as we give them credit for. But I do think they're amazing. So I just always liked the owls. I do like what they represent. But yeah, in the logo also, it's geometric.
Geometric shapes. It's very cool.
The triangles, the numbers, the power of 3. I think the number 3 is just incredibly powerful. So that's where the triangles come from. And so again, Christy really listened to me and created something. It was funny too because I kept telling her, I was like, I want to be involved as you're going along. She's like, that's not how we work. Remember I told you, I want to understand everything. Like, I'm always trying to be involved. She's like, that's not how we work. And we'll show you a couple options once we have them. I was like, oh my gosh. She showed me that and I was like, oh, I love it. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, it's very cool. I like the owl. And it'll be interesting. I always thought that they were wise, but why? They have those big eyes. Maybe they can just see everything.
Yeah.
What makes them wise.
Have you ever seen, they also fly, create zero noise. It's amazing. Like they've set up microphones and had different birds fly over it. Ooh. And then the owls
They're
fly
very
over
stealth-like.
Very stealth, yeah.
My folks have a place up in Loveland and they have, I think it's the same owl. And man, it gets prey really quick.
Yeah.
They probably can't hear him coming.
Yeah,
and they're
so
really creepy too.
Yeah.
They have a presence about them, that's for
But
sure.
they're also, if you watch any videos, they're incredibly cute and yeah.
Oh, the little ones are
yeah,
adorable.
they're so neat. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Josh, for coming in. This
Thank
has
you,
been so
guys.
amazing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It's been great. So for those of you listening, go to optimizewealthstrategies.com. You can find out all about what Josh does as a financial planner. Again, it doesn't matter your age, your demographics, any of your family, it doesn't matter. Definitely reach out to him and he can help. It's very stress-free, which I like.
Yeah,
And it's
thank you.
very individualized and the relationship collaborative, comprehensive plan.
Most important.
It really is. To
Yeah.
me, a relationship is the bread and butter of everything in
Yeah.
today's world.
Yeah,
So get
We-
the best financial planner you can.
we only have so much bandwidth, right? Like,
Yep.
have the people you want
I agree.
involved
by.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've discovered that the older I get, I'm shedding.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're
Yeah.
kind of noise in my world. And are you benefiting? Are you building
Yeah.
up?
Absolutely.
Are you wanting to spend time with each other?
What was it? You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
I definitely
Yeah,
am a
choose
5-year-old a
them
lot. That makes
you,
sense.
yeah,
I am very much of a child.
yeah. Well,
It's all coming
we need
clear.
that. We need that, right? The innocence of a child is
Mhm.
amazing when you see it and it really clicks. Like, oh man, that's just what naturally came to them. They didn't care if they had the cool Nikes on or whatever. They're just being a kid and they're loving life.
Not
Yeah.
at all. Cool,
great.
cool. Well, thank you.
Thank
Josh,
you
for
guys. I
being here.
appreciate it. This was awesome.
Absolutely.
All right.
Josh Dellinger, everybody, and this interview will be up on our YouTube page probably within a week, so definitely check that out. Subscribe to our YouTube page if you have not. K4CO Radio YouTube. We're going to get you back to our musical programming right now. Thanks again, Josh, for coming on in. We
Thank you,
absolutely
guys.
loved it.
You guys
And
are great.
make sure to stay tuned with Afternooners with Sarah from 2 to 5. You guys take care. We're going to end this on a little another song that Josh picked out here. So you
Thank
guys
you.
take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday.